Hello everyone, welcome to Virgin Mobile Insights. This is Kevin James. I know it's been a while since my last video, but a lot has been happening with me. It looks like a lot of things that, I've been trying to do, like, looking for work and such, and trying to, advance myself has been tremendous. And, now I've been having the opportunity to really, explore new options with phones, and now I've decided that I think it's time for me to have an upgrade. So I decided to actually purchase the 5C. The 5C is actually what many people have considered the budget phone of Apple right now versus, their 5S model, which is a higher end model. So as you can see, over about a year ago, I purchased the iPhone 4, for Virgin Mobile, looking for a fresh start from, outside of Metro PCS. As you can see, the phone is still here, and it was upgraded with iOS 7. The same is on the left here. You'll see the new 5C. Sorry, I don't know, I keep mixing it up, but the new 5C that I purchased. And one thing I will admit is that looking at both devices right off the bat, I know that a lot of people, remember me saying in my original video, hey, the 4 is reliable, and, it still holds true today. After a year, I still have the phone, and obviously you can see that I've taken good care of it. It's in great condition. It still works just as well as it did on the first day I got it. However, one thing you'll notice right off the bat is, when I first originally got the phone, it had 5, then 6, and then got upgraded to 7. When 7 hit, one of the things about 7 is that 7 actually slowed down the phone tremendously, and in many cases I actually had to turn off a lot of the things that allow the phone to operate functionally well. Like, for example, some of the cool features that comes with with the 4. Some of the things I had to turn off, like actually looking at some of the features that I had here, some of the things I had to turn off, and it actually started to feel like the phone itself was starting to slow down because of the processing speed. Eventually speaking, once I started to do a lot more things with the phone itself, I started noticing that it just wasn't working as well as it once was. And it still works, it's just it has slowed down tremendously, and that's because the 4 itself actually has an A4 processor, which a lot of people, when you look at a phone, they look at what it looks like. I look at what's actually inside of it. Versus the 5C, which actually has an A6 processor, which is a lot faster compared to the 4 in processing speed and what it can actually do. Of course, as you can see, I actually have Siri here, which is sometimes kind of annoying when I'm trying to do a video like this and it comes on. As you can see, some of the functional things that I've noticed is for between the 4 and the 5 is a couple of things which I thought was pretty cool. The first is the camera on the 5 is actually a lot sharper than the original device itself. Give you an idea of what you can see. So right now, this is my ceiling fan. Right now, you see this is my ceiling fan on the 5S. Now look at it from the 4. If you look even from this angle, and even if just looking at it, you can tell right off the bat that the quality between the 5C and the 4 has tremendously changed over time. As you can tell, this actually is an 8 megapixel camera versus this one being a 5. Of course, the front is different. The front actually has, if I'm not mistaken, 1.2 for the 5C as well as VGA for the 4. And this makes a significant difference in the picture quality that we get typically from both devices. And that's one of the things that I really liked about it, was the camera is like really well done. And that's one thing I know Apple does really well. Their camera functions are usually one of the best I've seen. As you can tell, I just pressed the home button on both devices at the same time, and you notice that right off the bat, the 5 actually is a lot zippier. The processor, because the processor is much faster, you expect a lot more out of the device. But, be warned that if you originally have a 5, your processor is going to be just about the same. It's actually the same, if I'm not mistaken, for both devices. So really, don't think I'm going to go from the 5 to the 5C and you're going to see significant boost. That's not the case. If you're really looking for the boost, I would suggest going for the 5S over the 5. So that's just something to keep in mind as you're looking at this. Call quality on both devices, they were pretty much the same. I didn't really find a significant difference between calling between the 4 and the 5C. When it came to actually using features such as YouTube, I did notice a significant difference. The quality that the version can do on this device is pretty incredible when it comes to the actual internet itself. YouTube was really well done on, especially just using the data from this device was phenomenal. On the 4, it wasn't the fastest, as I mentioned before in my previous review, but it got the job done. But between getting the job done and actually surpassing it, the 5C and including the 5S, which I have never used yet, but I know is pretty much beyond this, is phenomenal so far. And so that's one of the cool things about this. The LTE is on this device, and let's say for example I'm in an area that LTE isn't really available, it drops to 3G, which is okay because that's what I originally had. So I'm getting above what I had here on the iPhone 4 onto the 5C, which is phenomenal. So as you keep that in mind as you're looking at both devices, that if you want to get out of the 3G zone, go with this device. If you don't care, you can stick with the 4, but just know that sometimes the data speeds are not going to be the best on Virgin Mobile's network, and that's something that you have to accept if you're getting a Virgin Mobile device. Some of the other features that are on this device is obviously by holding the home button here, Siri comes up.
Let me think about.
And of course, I don't really want to go into Siri right now, but as you can tell, Siri has actually been one of the most phenomenal things that you've seen on the iPhone market today. One of the cool things you'll get from it as well. One of the things that I mentioned in one of my previous reviews is that when it comes to actually looking at the 4 and looking at data speeds, Virgin Mobile doesn't have the fastest network. But this is also under the fact that the iPhone 4 can only do 3G. So right now we're going to do a quick data test just to see how fast Virgin Mobile's network is under 4G LTE. Mind you, the Virgin Mobile network is powered by Sprint, so we expect at least halfway decent speeds onto the device as well. So, wow. And that was pretty incredible. Already we're seeing like some of the maximum speeds I hadn't seen in quite a while. And especially when I was running with Virgin Mobile, all I got was, very, dead speeds in the water. As you can see right now, this is pretty phenomenal when it comes to looking at speeds. And as you can see, the download speed versus the upload speed, we're talking about a lot faster than what we've seen before. Let's also change this again. Let's also change the results to show it as kilobytes or Mbps. And we're talking about speeds that range between download speeds range between 19 megabytes per second and up to about 26. Upload speeds of about 3 megabytes to about 6 or 7. So we're talking about really improved speeds using Virgin Mobile's network. And, obviously powered by Sprint, of course, but we're still talking about phenomenal speeds under those circumstances. Some of the other things that, you'll notice is that, when apps open up on the device, it's quick, it's a lot faster. It actually pushes it to the limits that I've never seen before on, the 4. And, I've only had the device literally just tonight, but I've noticed that this has been one of the best things I've ever seen so far. And some of the other features that you'll get into, other than speed, is some of the apps that you can play here that you really couldn't play on the 4. Because the processor is much better, it can handle a lot more. You'll notice that if you play games like Candy Crush, which seems simple enough, but they do slow down on the device. you play those same games on the 5C, no comparison. You will be able to do things that on this device that you can't do on the 4. You're probably wondering, well, how come you're not really getting too much into this device? Well, the problem is that the device has been erased, so the data. So right now, I can't necessarily go back in and download apps. I could do that, but it will probably take me extra time. And I figure if it's something that was well worth it, if you guys would like to see that, I can create another video that kind of reflects that as well. Some of the things that you'll notice also on a physical appearance, you'll notice obviously that the 5 is larger than the 4 on my screen. It's probably just as, if not just as. So the 5 is actually the 5C is actually a little smaller than the 4, but when it comes to the thickness of the actual device itself, one of the things that you'll notice right off the bat is that we lose that kind of glass cover from the 4, and now if we look at the 5, you'll notice it's more of a plastic clean cover, which feels pretty odd when I was using it, but I can get used to it. I think that's one of the cool things. Of course, a lot of people question, well, it's a plastic back. We can expect that, it will probably get destroyed easily. That's not actually the case, especially even, my roommate who actually has, the other device, the 5C, actually noticed that, when you drop the device, you can drop it and it actually can take a hit. Unlike the 4, which that was one of the unique quirks of the 4, you drop this, you'll get these cracks right across the screen, and of course that means that you have to get the screen replaced. I think some of the last things that I'll talk about in this particular session is just looking at both devices and how they feature, how they function. Even looking at the display, you're talking about a really high resolution display of the things you can actually see. For example, this is the picture of obviously Iron Man, but you can actually take a look and see that the quality of the images on this device are sharper, they're cleaner, and they offer a lot more for the user. Finally, I'll get into actually price range. When I bought the 4 at the time, it was about $300 to $400. At the time, obviously, prices of phones will go down and depreciate, so it was a lot at the time. Now this device will go about $159 actually on Virgin Mobile's website. I'm also selling this device right now, so if you are interested, it actually is on my eBay channel. You can take a look at that. I'm starting it off at $100, and we'll go from there. The 5C is actually, on the other hand, is going for about $400 altogether, including taxes, which also kind of shows how the improvements that have been made on the 4 have transformed into what the 5C is today. For $400, yes, it is a bit steep, but it isn't as steep as when it first came out. And look at it this way, the price of it will keep going down. So this may be a good opportunity for you to upgrade, or for anyone really for that matter to upgrade. So my final recommendation, if you are looking for an upgrade from your 4 or your 4S, the 5C is probably the best way to go if you're looking for a budget phone, but at the same time that has the capabilities to really surpass and really transform and push to the next level. But if you're okay with having the 4 and 4S, then that's fine. But just know that the more apps that come out, the faster, the more processing it takes. And eventually speaking, your phone will probably start to slow down to the point where it just gets to the point where you probably need to upgrade anyway. My recommendation, if you're looking for an upgrade, check out the 5C. If you have any more questions, or if you have any comments, have any suggestions for videos for the follow-ups for this device, comment below, and we'll talk soon.